How's it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another video. Before we get into Hercules aka Taylor, let's talk a little bit about the Relics fusion. So let's have a quick rundown of what this is all about. But if you came from other games, then you know exactly what this is all about, and I've also talked about this, but let's take a look into it in more detail. So after you reach level 7, you will automatically unlock the Relics fusion feature, accessible by tapping the hammer icon on the left side of the main screen. Inside the Cube Miracle, you can obtain special items from the basic supplies or deluxe supplies, which you can fuse into relics via the Relic fusion interface as follows. So 40 basic materials can be fused into one 4-star relic, 50 intermediate materials can be fused into one 5-star relic, and 60 blah 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 can be fused into one 6-star relic. And on top of that, so let's say you do not need 4-star relics, let's say you do not need 5-star relics like me, you can also convert 3 basic materials into one intermediate material and 3 intermediate materials into one advanced material. And I think the picture below kind of illustrates exactly what this is all about. Importantly, you can choose the relic set of your choice and the rarity of your choice. So if you want to go for, let's say, speed set, then you can go for the speed set and you can choose like 4, 5, 6 stars, provided you have the required materials. However, you cannot choose the exact piece of a set, so you can't choose like slot 1, 2, 3, 4. Neither can you choose its main or substat, so it's kind of just a random thing. So it's basically just going for another role of a relic that you would otherwise get from a dungeon, which is an extra thing, right? I mean, honestly, the rates in the game right now are pretty good, right? 6-star drop rates are pretty good. So based on my spreadsheet, I've actually calculated that in every 3 runs, you would then get 2 6-star relics, so the chance of you getting a relic of your choice is actually pretty high without even specifically forging it. But without further ado, let's take a look at Taylor.
Weapons carry power.
Okay, in terms of his design, I guess not really my type. In my opinion, you can't really compare something like this to Cecilia. To me, he just looks like a humanoid golem. But anyway, he will be yet another 4-star Shimmer DPS unit who specializes in taking the opponent's cards in their graveyard out of the game. So as always, let's take a look at the skills and their animations, and let's figure out what we can do with him in the current state of the game. First up, we have Power Impact. Attacks the target, dealing damage based on Taylor's attack, plus a damage increased based on his HP lost. From the 2.1.1 patch log, it said that it is based on a percentage of his HP lost. So unless they change something along the way, it is not based on a finite amount of his HP, which means that he doesn't necessarily need to be built tanky. He just needs to be able to survive with 1 HP, and that should work. So Standoff will be a very powerful buff on him. Next, we have his passive called the Hero's Wrath. Gets an extra turn after killing an enemy and prevents enemies killed by Taylor from being revived. So this was the whole Magic the Gathering thing that I was talking about. So let's say maybe you start off with Liling, right, an AoE DPS unit, and you can follow up with Taylor after that to do the cleanup, and Taylor should be able to pick out every single one of them who is like maybe below half HP. His Shimmer typing makes him a solid DPS unit that allows him to pick out just about any typing without needing to worry about elemental disadvantage. Finally, we have Soul Blast. Dispels all buffs from one enemy, dealing damage based on Taylor's attack, and he himself suffers true damage without being killed. So he damages himself this way, and at phase 3 Ascension, you grant yourself attack up and crit rate up after killing an enemy. And ignoring the fact that he's just a Pokemon over here, this kit, right, this S3 that he has is a little bit confusing because on one hand, for most bruisers, basically characters that, you know, they do more damage the lower their HP goes, you'd naturally want to equip them with lifesteal relics. But for this case, if he uses his S3, he actually lowers his own HP for you to proc into S1. And if you heal yourself before going to your S1 is actually going to do a lot less damage. So then there are really 2 builds, right? One build is playing safe using a Hades set. You're going to do a lot less damage, but at the same time, you're going to be more sustaining, which I think may be good for fodder farming. Or on the other hand, you just want to go straight up full DPS and have like a Catherine to back you up with a standoff buff. And if let's say you cannot do the last hit properly, you can follow up with a Fabrice to push your AP up to 100% and you get your other turn just like that. Or if you do land a last hit properly, you know, your last hits are all done, you can follow up with the same Fabrice using Fabrice S3 on Taylor. This allows Taylor to be invincible and survive longer. So I think Taylor and Fabrice work very well together, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them used a lot. So really quickly over here, I'm just going to cover him very fast. Where would I see him being used? Why see him being used in PvE? Absolutely not. He's not needed anywhere that a Chalmers cannot do the same job. I think Chalmers being a 3-star is going to be a lot easier to build and a lot easier to acquire and fully resonate And I think Chalmers' kit just works a lot better against PvE content where the boss and the enemy's HP are just naturally higher. So if I have to be realistic on whether he is a useful character, honestly speaking, not really that good. Or at least he doesn't shine so brightly like Chalmers can. So the only place left for Taylor to work in is going to be PvP content, and that's where I think he shines a lot as well. Now do take note that while he specifically counters revive teams such as Cecilia and Lauren, who also all happen to be Shimmer units, he is not exactly that needed, because honestly speaking, there is not a lot of people who are running Cecilia, and there is also not a lot of people who are running Lauren as part of their point wall defense. Maybe they are going to be using that more in the real-time arena, and that's probably where you can counter-pick using a Taylor. But if I divert your attention away from Taylor for just a moment, because of the inclusion of Taylor, where the revive meta is not even a thing yet, is not settled, there is only just 2 characters who can revive, and now that they decide to include Taylor as an anti-reviver, I think Cecilia is probably worth nothing right now. I mean, to be honest, for every single Cecilia out there, there are 9 Taylors out there. This is just based on summoning rates, right? So unfortunately, Cecilias are kind of useless right now. I mean, in terms of point wall at least, but for the rest of the content, I guess you can use her, but she doesn't really do anything off cooldowns, so RIP. But that will be it for the showcase on Taylor. I don't really like him as a character. I think he's kind of in a weird place. So number one, even his relics are kind of awkward right now. And at the same time, because of his inclusion, which I have no idea why the developers decided to go with him right now, he's tearing apart the revive meta, which is still just a baby. Right, Hercules is just tearing up a baby. But that'll be it for this video, guys. Let me know your opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with my findings on this Esper? I would really like to know your thoughts on this. But with that said, this has been free to play, by the way, and as always, I will see you in the next video.